everyone. It's Paul at Martech Mentor, and I want to share something that I'm working on right now that I think that you could really find value in. You know what you're looking at right now is basically what looks like just a plain old screen spreadsheet, right? Looks like just a spreadsheet like Google Sheets or Excel, but it's not. This is actually Airtable. And what's the difference? Well, what I'm learning right now is that every piece of data that I'm creating, whether it's a simple spreadsheet or something more complex, I'm putting into Airtable because I'm assume that later on I'm going to use AI and automations to do something with this data. And that's what I would encourage you to do. We're in a phase of technology right now where everything that we can do is going to be easily automated. And so we should start with that in mind. So let me show you what I'm doing here. I've been invited to prepare some articles and write for a major site online and to be a contributor on their blog. And so to help me kind of organize all of the topics that I'm going to write about related to Martech, I created this so-called spreadsheet on Airtable. But let me show you what's different about this. I went ahead and I set up a few basics, such as, a topic, a schedule. I'm going to later put an image in here, a refined title, a summary, a goal, and some other column. What's great is with Airtable, I can turn this into an interface, which means that very quickly, I've actually almost created this SaaS looking platform where I can manage all of this content in various views, and I can hit this little button over here and I can just add a new topic like a form. And this took me all of like 5 minutes to create. So it's a very powerful tool. And what's great is what I'm going to do with this is now I'm going to take this and I'm going to connect it to make.com and some of the AI models so that when I put a summary in, I'm going to have AI take this and now spit back to me a refined title from this summary. And so what I wanted to really show you is that right now we're in a phase where you need to stop just thinking, oh, I need to put a spreadsheet together, or I need to spin up Excel or Google Sheets. You need to be thinking, I'm going to put this into a system that I can later do something with and expand quickly. Now, this is a really simple example, but let me show you one that's a little bit more complex. In fact, it's a lot more complex. Let me tell you the problem. The problem is I do cold email outreach, and I've got about 30 domain names that I own, and I send thousands of emails out to cold contacts every single day, and it's all automated. Well, I was beginning to really lose track of how all of this content was put together. And so just to give you an idea, I've got my brand assets. These are all the brands I own. I've got my domain names that I own. Of course, I blurred them out so you can't see them. And I was starting to lose track of like, okay, I got this domain name and these email addresses that are attached to those domain names. And here are all the audiences I'm targeting, and here are all the campaigns I'm running, and here are the offers I have, and et cetera, et cetera. And here's the tools I'm using, and blah, blah, blah. Instead of just having this in spreadsheets, now I've created a system with an interface that allows me to share this with my team and use it more effectively. So as an example, here's how I'm tracking everything. I've got all my brands set up, and I create a unique selling proposition for each brand. I list my primary, secondary, and tertiary products that you can kind of see like right here. But then what I do is also set up all my domains. So I've got all my domain names here. I've listed, to help me stay sane, where I've registered these. And so most of the time it's with GoDaddy, but I do have a few other tools that I use. And I've created a system that lets me know what the status of this domain name is. Is it being used in any campaign right now, or is it not? Have I already purchased email addresses, or do I need to do that? This has been really helpful because I lost track. And so here's another way I'm using this is to track all of the actual email addresses. Now with cold email, there's a lot of steps I have to go through to set this up so that I won't get blocked or put into spam boxes. And so I was losing track of all of these, scores and scores of email addresses that I own. And so I use this process to help me know whether or not all of the configuration has been done and whether or not this email address is ready to use right now and which platform I'm using. I use Instantly and sometimes another one called Reach Inbox. I also want to track, where did I buy this email address? Usually it's from G Suite, but there are other places that I can buy these domain names and emails. And then I wanted to know, well, which emails have I purchased that are not being used in a campaign? And so I set up a little tool to allow me to kind of track which emails do not have an audience and a campaign attached to them. And this is really helpful because, for instance, I can see right now that I've got 15 of these email addresses that I've purchased and set up, but I don't have them attached to an audience or a campaign, which means that I'm wasting several dollars a month per email. And I need to really get busy and set up a campaign for each of these so I can maximize my cold outreach. All right. And then I set up some things about the audience, like who are the audiences that I'm targeting. And I set up some information about how I'm going and getting the criteria for that. And so now I know this audience was using this search on Apollo, which is a lead finder tool. And I know exactly what my targeting criteria is. And I was getting lost in all of that. I got this one audience of CEOs, but did I target CEOs of 5 million to 10 million or 10 to 100 million? And I was just losing track. And so now I've got all of this in a system, as well as the lead list that I've created or, have downloaded or scraped. And so now everything is together in this one really easy to use system that allows me to kind of know where I'm at all times, who I'm targeting, and what emails I'm using to target it. I've even got all my campaigns set up in terms of which audience they're using, what offer I'm making to them, and which emails I'm sending. I've got all of my email sequences here. So if I'm targeting this particular audience, I can literally look at my cold email sequence and copy that I have for each campaign, which was really helpful. Then I set up some things like, well, which ones do I need attention? Like, for instance, I haven't started any of the copy for these. And so this gives me a quick viewpoint of what I need to do in the next few weeks to actually get these campaigns done. And then now I'm working on the automation side, which is I'm setting up some cold email prompts that I can feed into AI that'll help me generate copy for these cold emails. And so also, then being the delegation nerd that I am, I went ahead and set up a little training center so that I can delegate this to someone else. And let's say I said to them, hey, I want you to go scrape Apollo for some leads using this audience. Well, I went ahead and listed out all of the steps that they need to take in order to accomplish that task. If I said, hey, I want you to go set up a new email configuration and get all my SPF and DMARC and DChem and all these things set up, I wanted to give them all the steps to do that. And so even if you don't know what those are, it really doesn't matter. I basically was establishing some baseline information so that I can delegate this to other people. So I wanted to show you this because it's super, super easy to set up. You basically are starting with what looks like Excel type data. But the great thing about AirTable is that you can actually set up an interface. You just click on this tab right here and you can start building this interface that looks pretty but is also functional and that you can share with your team without it being clunky. So I hope that whatever project you're working on today, that as you started out, you'll do the hard work on the front end and think, how can I set this up in a way that's scalable, that I can automate, probably using make.com or Zapier or something like that, so that I can streamline my work. Now, here's the great news. Once you do one or two of these, you can duplicate them and use them for other projects, which is what I've started doing. And so I encourage you to do this right now. Jump into my MarTech Mentor group if you're not in it already, and I show you how to build these Airtables, and I show you how to use Make and use AI and prompt all together to accomplish some really fun things with your workflows and your content to make you a better, faster, smarter leader. I'll see you on the inside.